It's a Friday afternoon and you're going with your friends to a coffee shop. When you get up to the counter, you order a... What? You didn't get that? A small hot chocolate with whipped cream. After all, this isn't just any coffee shop. It's the Starbucks on 8th Street Northeast in Washington, D.C. This Starbucks is one of our country's first signing stores. Employees run the store completely using sign language to communicate with customers. The store provides jobs for deaf adults and helps the community become more aware of how to communicate with deaf people. The language this store uses is the third most popular language within the United States. That's right, American Sign Language. Today we are going to be spelling out the history of American Sign Language, pointing at the unique structure of the language, and getting a handle on sign language's unique influence on today's mainstream media. Centuries before a set version of sign language existed, like the one you can use today to order at Starbucks, monks established their very own version of hand signs to communicate during long bouts of silence. However, none of these hand signs were ever universal enough to really be considered a language. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, it wasn't until the late 1700s when a French man named Charles Michel de la Paix created a school called the National Institute for the Deaf in Paris. At this school, Charles taught deaf children hand signs of his own creation, which have become known today as French Sign Language, the first official sign language. Here in America, we have our very own version of sign language, American Sign Language. ASL evolved around 1817, when a man named Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet took on the responsibility of educating his neighbor's deaf daughter, Alice. To learn more about the intricacies of educating deaf people, Gallaudet took a trip to Paris, where he met a man who had graduated from the National Institute for the Deaf. The two men returned to the United States together and opened Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., which is still around today, and is actually the only school in the U.S. designed specifically for deaf people. Plus, it's only a few blocks away from the signing Starbucks on 8th Street Northeast. Now, you may be thinking that ordering a coffee in sign language couldn't possibly be that hard, and you're right. However, sign language has other, more difficult components, such as its structure. ASL expert Ulrika Akrent, who has a PhD in linguistics, explains that sign language appears expressive because sign language uses face and body movements as part of its grammar, which explains why oftentimes people using sign language appear super bubbly or energetic. A recent NPR broadcast about sign language refers to ASL as a 3D language. Many people have the misperception that sign language is just English signed word for word. This is not the case at all. In fact, sign language has such different components than English that it is accepted by high schools and colleges throughout the country as meeting foreign language requirements. In her recent book, Communicating in Sign, ASL expert Diane Chambers states that there are 5 main components to sign language, and these include eye contact, facial expressions, body language, hand movements, and mouth movements. These components are all crucial for signers to get the message across. Relating to this, in a recent TED Talk, ASL interpreter Christine Kim, who actually interpreted the national anthem during the 2020 Super Bowl, compares the intricacies of sign language to the activity of playing a piano. Kim explains English is a linear language, as if one key is being pressed at a time. However, ASL is more like a chord. To fully express a clear concept or idea, each component of sign language must be present. Kim uses the simple demonstration of the sign. Look, when eye contact and facial expressions are added to the sign, it can be interpreted in so many different ways. For example, you can say, I'm looking at you, staring at you. What are you looking at? Or even, stop looking at me. Today, about 1 million people in the U.S. communicate primarily using sign language. And lately, teaching sign language has become popular for parents of hearing children. This new phenomenon is called baby sign language. One resource new parents can use to teach sign language to their hearing children is the TV show Signing Time. Signing Time's website explains that most children are not developmentally ready to speak until approximately 2 years of age. However, babies are developmentally ready to communicate with signs much earlier than that. The show provides children with signs they will use again and again and often incorporates silly songs into the mix. I watched the show as a young kid, and even today, I still remember the theme song and the signs that went with it. It went a little something like this. There's singing time and dancing time, laughing time, playing time, and now it is my favorite time, signing time. Believe me, it's been 16 years, and it still gets stuck in my head. Sign language is not only targeted towards young children in today's media, however. For example, the recent fictional horror film A Quiet Place follows a family forced to survive in complete silence in order to avoid being hunted by monsters. The movie's catchphrase is, "If they hear you, they hunt you." Fittingly, the Wrap.com's review of the movie mentions that it takes place in 95% silence. The family in the movie communicate in accurate American Sign Language throughout these moments of sign language, bringing sign language into today's mainstream media. And speaking, signing, of current popular television, one of today's most famous celebrities, Niall DeMarco, a deaf model who competed on Dancing with the Stars and America's Next Top Model, is a deaf activist with a nonprofit organization aimed to teach sign language to deaf children starting from birth. The website of the Niall DeMarco Foundation explains the key to unlocking a deaf child's future is acquiring language from an early age. The foundation provides new parents of deaf children access to signs so that these children will grow up surrounded with a way to communicate. This is crucial because children develop their brains 98% of the way in the first 5 years of their lives. And a lack of language, whether verbal or through signing, during this time period could be difficult to recover from. A problem the Niall DeMarco Foundation, Signing Time, and even A Quiet Place all bring awareness to. Although I wouldn't let a child under 5 watch that movie. So the next time you're at Starbucks and you see someone ordering a small hot chocolate with whipped cream, you notice sign language in a movie such as A Quiet Place, or you see an interpreter such as Christine Kim signing the national anthem during the Super Bowl, you will be able to say you know a little bit more about the unique language they're all using, its long history, dynamic structure, and the interesting ways it intertwines into our culture and our media today. And in the meantime, just remember the song, because now it is my favorite time, signing time. Thank you.